Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the realm of Kadora, where we tend to play around with some Sims, have them do crazy shenanigans, all that good stuff. Well, not unfortunately, but today's going to be a little bit different. I'm actually going to be using Sims to complete a school project. So if you've been looking forward to other shenanigans, that's going to be on hold until next week. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving break. I had a wonderful break. My brother actually proposed to his girlfriend, so that was pretty adorable. And now my classmates, as they will be watching this in a mere couple of days, they now know my internet name. So that's fun. So let's get right to it. Hello, class. How are ya? As you all know, it is me, Kaylee, and as you now know, Kadora. And as I awkwardly try to figure out what's going on with my screen here, why not move? Move, darn you. Alright, let's get into the video as soon as it lets me. Slideshow. Sorry, technical difficulties that are not going to be edited out because I don't have time. Come on. As this is waiting, I will go ahead and say that my project was on creating a solution for the homeless population. And it had a lot of lovely hiccups in investigating what has been done in the area, what hasn't been done, things like that. And it seemed efficient or effective, I would say, to try and incorporate abandoned retail spaces for assisting the homeless population. So without further ado, here we go. As soon as it lets me. All right. So in this area, we have 3 mall areas that have been either abandoned, been in disarray, or been foreclosed upon in the past 10 years. The first one would be Crestwood Plaza, and I actually still thought that Crestwood was still around vacantly. Whoops, you go back. But it is not. It has been demolished, and it is already in redevelopment. Then we have the Jamestown Mall in Florissant, and the reason why this would be a good option would be because there is a higher concentration of the homeless population, which means that we don't have to worry about transportation issues or things like that for getting them to the facility. The city already owns it, so the city wouldn't have to try and buy it. It wouldn't have to be bought from a private investor, nothing like that. But it is in a complete state of disarray. You can actually go on YouTube and look up a video of someone actually breaking into the property, which they do not recommend, and investigating. And they actually have respirators on because of the stench. So you would have to go through and deal with hazardous material, decaying animals, all that kind of stuff. And that was only 8 years ago. It's actually incredible the amount of disarray that happens in such a short amount of time. Which leaves me here with Chesterfield Mall, which is currently owned by Whole Development and still has some stores and is a residential area. So like I said, with looking at Jamestown, it would cost $4 to $5 million to just demolish the area. And like I said, already city owned, so you wouldn't have to deal with litigation or ownership issues. Then after the demolition, it would be about $50 million to rebuild that area into a facility for the homeless. Now, if we look at Chesterfield, the rental costs are about $45 million, and it's only about $5 million off because of when you're renovating a mall versus renovating a mall for inhabitants, for people to actually stay there. You have walls that you're putting up, you have plumbing, you have a lot of different things that you're using. but you can use existing structures. So this 45 million is a rough estimate, but I could be off by a few. What's a few million after you've reached the over 20 million range, right? And it is currently owned by Whole Development, and looking at their website, they currently do not have any plans to develop the Chesterfield Mall. So at the Chesterfield Mall, it does have 30 stores still in place, but that's out of 150 available retail spaces. So it looks like, and Chesterfield went into foreclosure about a year ago. So it's looking like there is a possibility for that property to become completely vacant in the near future. And then we have the Descent. Here are the issues that I ran into when it came to developing specifically the Chesterfield Mall. One would be how to raise the money. I was using the... Oh, wow. I just completely lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys. In my research, I found that successful nonprofits that have previously turned retail space into a space for the homeless population did so through 80% of it being from private investors and raising money and things like that. And 20% was from the government. So this would not be a huge investment on the taxpayer portion. The next thing is location. Chesterfield is a bit out of the way for the homeless population. So in order to make this actually viable, you would have to accommodate for transporting individuals seeking help or seeking assistance to get there. Then you have the ever so lovely, but what about redevelopment? And what I have to say about that is, you know those levees that y'all installed in our floodplains and have like 3 malls less than 5 minutes away? Y'all are fine. And on a less sarcastic note, but on still a real note, do we really need more high-rise apartments and things like that in Chesterfield? Or should we help out our already existing population? And that's something that's also uncomfortable to talk about, that developing this space in Chesterfield would force people to do, which is a problem. Not a problem, but the situation is right here in front of you. You can't escape it just because you're in the ritzy part of St. Louis County. It's not fair. And this might be a little lofty on my end, but I personally think that forcing us to look at people in the face that struggle with certain things, it'll change your tune on some things. So that is the boring part of the presentation. And now we awkwardly transition. Awkward transition. Now let's do it here. And I feel really bad for my classmates right now that are probably sitting and looking at me with utter shock and like, what the heck are you doing, girl? You know, my thing. All right, so here we have the Maniaci Center of Progress. And yes, that is progress with one S, because there are character limits. So I promise you, I know how progress is spelled. And definitely for my classmates, or for those who don't know, 100% ignore the price tag. That is not US dollars. That is game dollars, and they are not transcribable. So let's go ahead and visit my space as soon as it lets me. Come on, let me do my thing. Now let's go to The Sims. Oh yeah, for my classmates, yeah, this is The Sims 4. I decided to go ahead and build a 3D remodel of a mall. And here it is. And what I did was I first built a mall, a fully, functional mall in this game. Then I remodeled it to fit my vision. And in order to do that, these lots, they are not the size of a mall, nor would they let me. The biggest one you can really get is this 50 by 40 space. So this is about 2,000 square feet. And I have about 4 levels up here. So as we're going through, I will describe what portions of the mall are renovated, and think more about not them being stacked up in levels, but more about, actual sections of a mall. So let's get started on our lovely little tour. Alrighty, as I accidentally move things. We first enter our lovely space here, and you're greeted by your lovely person who greets you, and my brain is not working. So you're greeted by front desk people. They get checked in, whatever you need. Then most of this floor is focused on general office space. So this is where volunteers would organize things, print off things, have meetings. This is also where residents could come and seek advice for, hey, I need this form, or I need this thing, whatever you need. So that's kind of what those are as we go about. Then we have our lovely library, because who doesn't need just a place to just chill and hang out and read and maybe do some research and learn some things. So this is kind of like a nice study area / book library thing. Pardon me. And as we come up here, another office, and then we head into our remodeled food court. And as you can see here, still utilizing a lot of the food court accoutrements, just more efficient, things like that. But I did, over on this store over here, I did renovate it to become more like an industrial sized kitchen. So residents can get, the same feel of a food court, but I feel like they get kind of thrown around a lot into like food court type settings. So it might be nice just to have a kitchen to cook in, like a normal human being. And one of the main focuses of this project is to design and keep in mind the fact that there will be families and people who don't want to become separated. So with that in mind, I have a lot of like high chairs and just things to help accommodate different age ranges. And I did keep the bathrooms, the normal bathrooms here, so that, I just found that there was no reason to renovate that. It's a perfectly functioning, bathroom for multiple people. No big deal. Then we're going to head into the basement, which is going to be the renovated, the renovated cinema space, so movie theater space. And this is going to be kind of like the family kiddo hangout area, because, kids, they need to play and have a semblance of, enjoying life. So this is kind of where kids and adults can just come and chill. Then over here we have more of a teen hangout space. Originally was going to have video games and stuff in it, but then, best laid plans. I totally forgot about them. Then over here we have a little chillins area. So plenty of play space, things like that. Just kind of an area for them to really enjoy playtime. Then in our abandoned movie theater, we have basically a Chuck E. Cheese. You have different playground equipment, just things for kids to just go around, run around and go crazy. Mostly because St. Louis weather sucks and you need a place to let kids be rambunctious when the weather sucks. And I got this idea because in a lot of malls, you will have a general kid area, which could be utilized. I know that the Mills has like an actual like indoor playground area, as well as Chesterfield Mall had the carousel and things like that. So that's kind of the inspiration from this. And as we go up a level, we have our first set of dormitories, and this is going to be the family and women's dormitories. And like I said, this is definitely small scale, so definitely imagine probably about twice this amount for an actual floor renovation. This has 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, so a 5-to-3 ratio. And I can remove the walls and show you what's going on. So, you got your typical bed, chair, mirror, dresser, things to live a normal life. And various showers so that, yes, you do have people sharing bathrooms, but it's not to an extreme degree. And originally I was going to shot for shot model the actual Chesterfield Mall, but they don't let you do a full, there's just not enough space on this program. And so yeah, here we have my stackable thing. In the family dormitory, we have multi-bed rooms so that families don't have to be separated. So you can have, whomever on the larger beds, and then teens and those beds, cribs for babies, little beds for little children. And this was the closest thing I could find to any sort of room divider thing for a little bit of privacy. So I have 3 of those. Right there. And, just another spot for hangout and computer usage. Then over here we have the Zen Den, which is going to be a yoga studio and a place to meditate. Just a place to kind of give people a pause whenever they need it. And you know what? Yoga, it's a good thing. Then up this level. Oh, shoot. Actually, back down one. So out here is the roof area. And this does not have to necessarily be a roof area. This could be the grounds. So think about, all the concrete and all of the space that's in a parking lot. You don't need a big parking lot like that. So you could make a garden of sorts, and to help with cost and things like that, you could have a large scale. This is definitely more small scale, but a large scale garden and place for fruits and vegetables and things like that to just help with sustainability and give residents a trade that they can use that isn't just custodial work. I know that a lot of shelters do use custodial work and things like that as a way to help, quote unquote, pay their rent, but the population can offer much more than just remedial work. So this program focuses on finding the skills and potential in each person that comes through. Then on the opposite end of this, and again, this could be in the parking lot or whatever, doesn't have to be on the roof, is just a playground kids area, a fun, good place for kiddos and stuff to hang out. Then on this level, we have the men's dormitory, and this is 8 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, so a 2-to-1 ratio on this. And this was actually, this room right here was all this is abandoned, obviously, was an old jewelry store. So I actually just took a wall, divided it, and made it into 2 bedrooms that mirror each other to create space. Then something that this program focuses on is community. community while prioritizing security and safety. So I incorporated a lot of lounge areas and places for people to mingle, have fun, play games, brainstorm, come up with an idea, just, socialization, because we're humans. All humans need that, need just some way to just hang out and socialize. Then up here, imagine this being more like a Macy's or department store area where it's divided up into departments by product placement and by carpeting choices, not by actual walls. So by putting these walls in here, you can utilize this space. So imagine this being an old Macy's. And here would be basically a classroom setting. This would be where residents could learn how to budget, financial things, financial classes, childcare classes, anything that we can offer them would be wonderful. It could be a trade, it could be a career, it could be just learning how to sew, just any skill to help better themselves, maybe not monetarily, but personally. And that includes financial classes, skill classes, emotional management classes. Anything that we can offer them would be in this type of facility. Then we have an art, creative space, just a space for people to create, get some art therapy in, whatever that might mean to them. Then over here, we have a nice little lovely workout area, things like that. And then over here is going to be just some more offices for multi-purpose use, everything from counseling to budgeting to whatever the residents need. These rooms can be utilized as a way to communicate with specialists or people that they need to talk to reach their goals. And that will conclude our tour of the Maniaci Center of Progress. Yay! So another thing that I wanted to mention about this is that while this is about representative of like 8,000 square feet of use, which a mall is way bigger than that, by the way, one space can't do it alone, which is why the proposal that I have focuses on connecting and communicating with other non-for-profits in the area. This facility won't necessarily focus on rehab portions of someone's goals for independence, but there are other organizations in the St. Louis area that might have a better focus on that, but they're spread too thin because they're trying to focus on rehab and housing and childcare and professional development and all that stuff. But if we all kind of came together and utilized our resources, our financial resources, our people resources, our time resources, anything that we need to actually create a sustainable space for people seeking a different change. And another, like I said in the PowerPoint presentation, a point of dissent is, but it's in Chesterfield. You have all those people there. Well, yeah, that's fine. That doesn't mean, of course, there's going to be a safety concern regarding that amount of people. But is it any different than an apartment complex that's constantly going in and out of people or anything like that? Or to put it a different way, who cares? Who cares if there is a homeless shelter right next to your $300,000 condo? Who cares? And it's more of that balance of lofty ideals versus reality. And the reality is, in Chesterfield, you would get huge pushback, absolutely huge pushback. But I would hope that by showing that this is an actual viable case. This isn't something that could actually be done. And especially in Chesterfield, because in Chesterfield, while you do have those 30 stores, there are also 3 major outlet malls less than 5 minutes from where the Chesterfield Mall is located. So moving those businesses isn't as big of a deal as perhaps maybe trying to force the outlet mall at the Mills to move, because they just moved in there not too long ago. And it's definitely a lot cheaper than trying to renovate and basically start from scratch in a property like, a property like Jamestown. And while Jamestown definitely isn't a lost cause, I just can't legally go into Jamestown. So I used Chesterfield as a template for my project so that I could show, hey, this is what this is. Because, I can still wander around Chesterfield Mall. And I was able to get an idea of what visibly, not just, oh, this is kind of what it tends to look like, but an actual idea of store space and retail space and how each of these spaces could be transformed into viable options for the homeless community. So that is today's video. Thank you everyone for hanging in there with me. Sorry that it's a different kind of video today, but it's finals week and gotta get these projects done. Hope everyone has a great day, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.